The things Dr. Bright is not allowed to do at the Foundation. Number 1. Dr. Bright is not allowed to feed anything with peanut butter to Kane. Number 2. Telling new researchers that you can tame SCP-682 with a rolled up newspaper and a tummy rub is right out. Number 3. No longer allowed to challenge Abel to unwinnable games like tic-tac-toe. It was 3 weeks before Abel conceded a draw. Number 4. SCP-018 is not to be taunted. Number 5. Giving 113 to Diogenes is just plain pointless. Number 6. Attempting to disprove 343 to 343 is a horrible idea. Agents are still studying the resulting paperweight, supposedly so heavy that 343 should not be able to lift it. Number 7. While it is true that no one expects the SCP Inquisition, that is only because there is no such thing. Number 8. Dr. Bright is not king of anywhere. Or queen. Number 9. SCP-963 is not to be used for recreational or procreational purposes. Number 10. Although it is entirely possible to use SCPs currently under control of the Foundation to create tentacle monsters, no. Addendum 1. Not even if Dr. Palmer asks nicely. Number 11. There is no market for SCP brand pornography. Addendum 1. No. Not even in Germany. Number 12. Should not replace the buckshot in Dr. Clef's shotgun shells with any of the following: birdseed, confetti, cake sprinkles, sawdust, or glitter. Number 13. The Better Business Bureau is not the correct agency for dealing with containment failures from horrible eldritch artifacts sold by Marshall, Carter, and Dark. Number 14. Victims of SCP-217 are not toys. Addendum 1, nor are they to be used as props at a steampunk convention. Number 15. Dr. Bright is not allowed to bargain with personnel for their souls, not even if you can get them a good deal. Number 16. Don't let Dr. Bright get a sample of SCP-379. Let my laptop be the last victim. Number 17. Not allowed to go off my medication. Number 18. May not use any form of the word accident as an excuse. Number 19. Violate the dress code, even on casual Fridays. Addendum 1. No matter how many times you say please, Dr. Bright, we won't put any of the hats you've been asking about into the dress code. Number 20. If an SCP file says never to do something, it is not because we want to control your mind. Yes, it is. Addendum 1. No, it's not, and Dr. Bright may not edit this document. Number 21. SCP-437 is not to be handed out as weaponry to unsuspecting new researchers. Number 22. Data redacted on O5 request. Not even for recreational use. Number 26. Not allowed to send Nigerian-esque spam email to the Church of the Broken God. Number 24. Not allowed to lead a mobile task force against the UII under any circumstances without inviting Dr. Clef at all. In fact, just stay 500 feet away from any mobile task force at all times. Number 25. Not allowed to end reports with lyrics from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Addendum 1. But is allowed to end with lyrics from The Safety Dance. Addendum 2. The interpretive dance routine, however, is forbidden, until he gets lessons, for the foreseeable future. Number 26. Dr. Bright is not allowed anywhere near a Renaissance festival. Addendum 1. Especially not with D-class and garb. Number 27. SCP-963 is not a joy buzzer. Number 28. If a mind-controlling SCP is discovered, it is to be turned over to the proper authorities. It is not to be used to advance himself or others higher in the Foundation. Kondraki. 29. Dr. Bright is not a superhero of any sort, head of public relations, in charge of orientation for new staff, a doctor of psychology, a member of Psy Command, made out of bacon, in possession of an IQ over 300, head of SCP Review, or a member of maintenance staff. Sorry boys, Dr. Bright is a member of Psych Command. It's usually best not to ask why. It's 05 Command you're thinking of. Number 30. There is no Ethics Committee. Addendum 1. And even if there was, does anyone believe Dr. Bright would be on it? Addendum 2. As anything other than a what not to do. Number 31. No longer allowed to make up jodies for morning calisthenics. Addendum 1. Yes, this includes the Mickey Mouse Club song. Number 32. Dr. Bright is not allowed to apply SCP-963 to any major political figures. Again. Number 33. Dr. Bright is not from an alternate timeline. Addendum 1. Dr. Bright cannot issue orders to preserve the timeline. Addendum 2. Or to corrupt the timeline. Addendum 3. Or to screw with those history nerds. Number 34. Dr. Bright is not allowed to challenge anyone to a duel, and then give them SCP-572. Number 35. Dr. Bright is not allowed near SCP-5555-J in any way or any excuse. Remember what the miniature version did to Dr. Number 36. Dr. Clef and Dr. Bright are not allowed to interact without the presence of a responsible administrator. Addendum 1. Dr. Kondraki does not count as a responsible administrator. Addendum 2. Nor does Agent Strelnikov. Addendum 3. Or Dr. Mann. Addendum 4. In fact, let's just keep the two of them apart. Period. Number 37. Chainsaws are not the solution to every question. Addendum 1. Nor is more chainsaws. Addendum 2. Or chainsaw cannons. Additional Addendum 1. Except for that one time. And yes, it was awesome. Number 38. SCP speed dating never happened. Anyone who claims to remember such an event should report to Site Command for administration of Class A amnesiac. Number 39. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use any SCP to alter or affect the outcomes of any reality-based television shows, including but not limited to Survivor, Big Brother, Hell's Kitchen, American Idol, or any dating show on VH1. Addendum 1. Not even if Dr. Wrights asks nicely. Number 40. Dr. Bright is not allowed to administer spankings to Dr. Wrights as punishment, as it only causes more rules to be broken. Addendum 1. No, it doesn't matter that they are both consenting adults, no matter how much either of them argue otherwise. Addendum 2. Dr. Wrights is not allowed to spank the monkey. Addendum 3. Nor is she allowed to shock the monkey. Addendum 4. Or anything else related to the monkey. Number 41. SCP-082 is not to be given song requests, especially not Like a Virgin. Number 42. Accidentally spilling green gelatin on a dead body in the presence of 05 was funny exactly once, and the smell of excrement exuding from 052's khakis spoiled the moment. Number 43. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to utter the phrase more than 1,000 babies in the presence of any SCP personnel. Number 44. Nothing in the Foundation is rated over 9,000. Number 45. Stop posting classified information on 4chan. Number 46. No using SCP-705 for personal gain. Addendum 1. Or to plant monitoring equipment. Addendum 2. And absolutely no giving them tons of extra Play-Doh just to see what they can make. That mecha was damn annoying. Number 47. If it involves doing something wrong, it isn't right. Number 48. If it involves something right, you did it wrong. Number 49. If Dr. Bright has to ask, it's above his clearance level. Addendum 1. If it's above Bright's security clearance, run. Number 50. Dr. Bright is not allowed to declare war on any country, thing, or person. Number 51. Foundation credit cards or expense accounts are not to be used to purchase pornography. Addendum 1. Not even anomalous pornography. Number 52. Dr. Bright is not a marital aide and cannot refer to himself as such, especially on official documents. Number 53. Dr. Bright is not the Lord of Rodley Might. Addendum 1. And is hereby banned from playing Dungeons & Dragons, making use of SCPs to simulate the real danger. Number 54. Dr. Bright is not allowed to go to fan conventions. Addendum 1. Let alone use them as recruitment drives. Addendum 2. Especially not at furry conventions. Number 55. When writing a report, more detail is expected than Object Class Kita, Special Containment Procedures, Data Expunged, Description, Data Expunged. Addendum 1. And inventing new security clearances just so nobody can see what you've written is also considered poor form. Number 56. Showing Monty Python episodes to SCP-239 was not a wise decision. Please never try this with any other reality warping SCP. Number 57. For the Emperor is not an acceptable justification for any decision. Number 58. My evil twin did it is no longer considered a viable excuse. Addendum 1. Nor is my good twin did it, considering the implications. Number 59. Yes, forum trolls are annoying. No, they don't automatically become D-class personnel. Number 60. Not allowed to lace orgasm muffins with X-Lax. Again. Number 61. Dr. Bright is not allowed to send emails with memetic hazards attached. Amendment 1. Not even when replying to spam. Number 62. The Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny is not grounds to pit more than 15 combative SCPs, including SCP-682 and Abel, against each other. Addendum 1. Weeding out some of those angsty teens with attitude problems, however, is. Addendum 2. Dr. Bright is not allowed to administer free hugs. Number 63. Not allowed to kick SCP-2558-J. Addendum 1. Not allowed to play dodgeball with SCP-2558-J. Not allowed to play any type of ball game with SCP-2558-J. Number 64. Any proposal which includes the phrase metric fuckload is straight out denied. Number 65. Instances of SCP-2558-JX are not to be spooked when being held by members of O5. No instances of SCP-2558-J should be anywhere near an O5, let alone SCP-2558-JX. Number 66. The Foundation motto is Secure, Contain, Protect. Not any of the following. 1. Stab carrion powerfully. 2. Let's use it on 682. 3. Throw the cheese. 4. That's it, you're on Kita duty. 5. Can we put it in 914? 6. Blood makes the grass grow. Kill, kill, kill. 7. Fuck trees, I climb clouds, motherfucker. 8. Someone is getting stabbed. Amendment 1, but some days it should be. 9. Whose hand is that? 10. If all else fails, poop on it. 11. If all else fails, there's always the sun. 12. We need bigger kittens. 13. Society of creepy perverts. 14. Fuck, death, war, famine, and pestilence. We've got Clef, Gears, Kondraki, and Bright. 15. Throw D-class at it until it stops. 16. 447 and dead bodies. 2 great tastes that taste great together. 17. The FBI are a bunch of pansies. 18. Who wants to see what I can make the president do in public? 19. For the Horde. 20. Science for the Science God. 21. Make sure to wipe your feet on 2558. 22. When in doubt, feed it to 682. 23. Slapstick, clowns and puns. 24. Drop the basket now. 25. Seduction, coitus and pregnancy. 26. We always need more DACA. 27. Still alive and found the cake. 28. No worry, 05 won't ever figure it out. 29. Will it blend? 30. Commies love us. 31. Snap, crackle and pop. Number 67. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to play Hippocratic Oath Chicken with the medical staff. Number 68. A 4-minute of stunned silence means, my god, what did you do? Not, please continue. Number 69. Pranks placed into new staff's desks are not funny because they liquefied in record time. Number 70. Attempts to use Foundation radio telescopes to contact omniscient and omnipotent extraterrestrial entities will result in a bill for any damage to local space-time, including the cost of demoting objects to dwarf planet status. Number 71. Despite his doctoral degree, Dr. Bright is not allowed to either prescribe or administer any of the following. 1. Eminas. 2. Homeopathic remedies. 3. Any sort of medication. 4. Free hugs. 5. The healing power of laughter. 6. Sexual healing. 7. More cowbell. Number 72. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to offer the solution of use more guns to any problem. Addendum 1, or get bigger guns. Number 73. Despite what he may have said and any evidence, no matter how plausible, the SCP Foundation has never and will never be associated with Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and regardless of what Dr. Bright may say, he is not, and I quote, a real-life wizarding tutor. Addendum 1, nor is he a vampire. There was body glitter and bad acting. Addendum 2, and despite what the computer file on him may say, he is not a muad'Dib. The spice can flow just fine without him. Number 74. The Tamlin House School of Witchcraft and Wizardry is just a plain bad idea. Number 75. Yes, empirical evidence is the foundation of science. Yes, bad faith is the death of reason. No, this does not logically imply that anyone is ethically obligated to demonstrate the existence of breasts under laboratory conditions. Number 76. If Dr. Bright is ever found under the influence of any recreational substance, he must immediately be contained under level 15 containment. If you want to know why, please refer to the security tapes for Redacted, between the hours of Redacted AM and Redacted PM. Addendum 1. If Dr. Bright is found deliberately getting high to get out of paperwork, he is to be placed in a Type 4 cell and hosed down with cold water from a pressurized hose for no less than 5 minutes. Maybe this will teach you that drugs are bad. Okay. Number 77. Cthulhu and Riek are not valid reasons to send Pandora's box out into the Pacific Ocean in order to capture them. Furthermore, these are not even SCPs, and I will find the person who decided to enter a database file for them. Number 78. Dr. Bright is not allowed to upload visual mimetic kill agents to 4chan, 7chan, any image board. Addendum 1, well okay, maybe to 4chan. It'd be doing the gene pool a service. Number 79. Dr. Bright cannot change the standard issue D-class uniform to black pants with a red polo shirt. Addendum 1, I see your reasoning, but we just don't want to be associated with Star Trek. Number 80. No matter how many times he may claim it, no matter how many uniforms we may confiscate, Dr. Bright is not a ninja, nor has he ever been. Addendum 1, no. Not even if he uses SCP-281 to do it. Number 81. There are no security codes for 1. Zombie conga line, 2. Badass hat, 3. Vampire can-can, 4. Disco corpse, 5. Intense homoeroticism, 6. Extreme crotch violence, 7. Man disguised as a palm tree, 8. Man with porn stash, 9. Kung Fu Rasta, 10. Puppy-eating monks, 11. Justifiable homicide for all you dumbass mother humpers, 12. Bright family reunion, code brown, find a place to hide and make sure you leave an offering of booze outside your door, 13. Dr. Kondraki beach party. Number 82. Just because Dr. Bright is a doctor does not mean that he is the doctor, no matter how many British men he possesses. Addendum 1. No, SCP-963 is not proof against this. Addendum 2. Nor is any structure that results from placing SCP-184 inside of a police call box. Addendum 3. Adopting female members of the staff and calling them companions is right out. Addendum 4. SCP-297 is not a sonic screwdriver. Addendum 5. The Doctor Who? Number 83. While humour can be an effective way to improve staff morale, it is highly inappropriate to make your mum jokes in the vicinity of SCP-597. Number 84. Dr. Bright may not classify any researcher, including himself, as a mimetic hazard. Number 85. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to accept or use the following as payments for bets. 1. Your soul. 2. Anyone else's soul. 3. Virgin's blood. 4. Reproductive organs. 5. SCPs. 6. Memories, real or imagined. 7. Pieces of your past. I have no idea how that worked with Clef, but apparently he can do it. 8. The Island of Manhattan. 9. Beads. 10. Firstborn children. 11. Secondborn children. 12. Red-headed stepchildren. 13. Rented mules. 14. Gold spun from straw. 15. A child's laughter. 16. A child's tears. 17. Virginity. 18. Ponies. 19. Anyone's grandmother. 20. Anybody's grandfather. 21. Anyone's sister. 22. Any blood relative. Number 86. No matter how many times he photoshops himself into a picture of SCP-682, and no matter how many Australians he possesses, Dr. Bright is not, and never was, the Crocodile Hunter. Addendum 1. Nor does every SCP D-Class really hate it when you jam your thumb up their bum. Extra Addendum 1, and he is not allowed to do that right now. Number 87. As funny as Incident 387-682 Redacted was, Dr. Bright is not allowed unsupervised access to SCP-387. Researchers are still trying to figure out how an animate model of 682 was so invulnerable, despite only being made of just plastic blocks. Number 88. Dr. Bright is not allowed to tell new researchers experimenting on SCP-168 to divide by 0, find the square root of -1, or find the last digit of pi using the SCP. Dr. Redacted is still comatose, and 168 itself is quite displeased with the event. Number 89. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use examples from Star Trek when administering Turing tests to artificial intelligences of any sort. Computer hardware does not grow on trees, damn it. Number 90. Dr. Bright is not allowed to plant SCP-2383J into science labs. We're still picking up complaints from the office of Stephen Hawking. Addendum 1. No, not even for the good of science. Addendum 2. Or even as science for the science god. Dr. Bright is also not allowed to refer to himself as such either. Number 91. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use SCP-587 to reenact the locker scene from Men in Black, nor play Godzilla with its inhabitants. Addendum 1. Nor is he allowed to set himself up as a god to them. Addendum 2. Testing between SCP-786 and SCP-587 is also banned. David and Goliath scenarios are just as harmful to its inhabitants as the Godzilla incident. Addendum 3. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use SCP-786 to simulate Dwarf Fortress. Number 92. Dr. Bright is not allowed to show SCP-682 any of the following. 1. Any Uwe Boll movies. 2. The Room. 3. Troll 2. 4. Manos, The Hands of Fate. 5. Movies considered so bad they're good. 6. Movies considered cult classics. 7. You know what? Dr. Bright is just not allowed to show SCP-682 any movies at all. Ever. Number 93. Dr. Bright is not allowed to claim SCP-014J has breached containment and then leave a dining fork in the hallway. Number 94. Dr. Bright is not 05J. No such position exists at this time. Number 95. Dr. Bright is not allowed to give SCP-239 a copy of any Harry Potter books. Addendum 1. What did you do? Number 96. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use SCP-141 to give people parking tickets. Number 97. Dr. Bright is not allowed to send anything into the past, future, or to alternate dimensions. Number 98. Dr. Bright is not allowed to accuse people of being duplicates of himself with the intention of having them terminated, unless they actually are duplicates of himself. Addendum 1. Dr. Clef is not allowed to convince people Dr. Bright is a copy of him. Number 99. Dr. Bright may not put a cup of orgasm from SCP-294 through SCP-914 on the very fine setting. Addendum 1. Dr. Bright may not use SCP-294 to create a cup of mimetic orgasm, and use it on worldwide television. Addendum 2. Dr. Bright is not permitted to use SCP-294 to create orgasms of any kind, mimetic, sentient, or otherwise. Addendum 3. Given the results of requesting a cup of Dear God No, Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to use SCP-294 directly or outside of approved testing. Addendum 4. Given that he asked another staff member to request a cup of Explodium from SCP-294 to see what would happen, Dr. Bright is not allowed to ask other staff members to access SCPs for him, no matter how instructive, funny, or helpful the results would be. The only exception to this is SCP-963. Number 100. Dr. Bright is not allowed to make, accept, or take a rake-off on bets concerning XK class end-of-the-world scenarios. Number 101. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed access to SCP-732 infected documents, along with SCP-239. MTF Lambda-2 has been dispatched to contain Chowderclef. Number 102. Dr. Bright is not allowed to organize, authorize, or create in any form a Foundation Demolition Derby starring SCPs 2383J, 708, 666J, 2558J, 1543J, 2041J, 2103J, 968, 462, 115 and 225 for the grand finale. No. Just no. Not even if you try to throw in 682 trying to disguise it as a termination attempt. Number 103. Dr. Bright is not allowed to get on the PA system as Site 19 and just announce he won the game. You know what? Dr. Bright is just never allowed on the PA system for any reason. Ever. Number 104. Dr. Bright is not allowed to request access to all cubicle SCPs to make a fort of any kind. Number 105. Dr. Bright is not allowed to play Hot Potato with SCP-963. Number 106. Dr. Bright is not allowed to arrange, schedule, advertise, promote or sell tickets to cage matches between Abel 682 or any SCPs. Number 107. We don't care how many O5s agree to it and how many precedents there are, Dr. Bright is not allowed a pet SCP. Number 108. Dr. Bright is not allowed to combine a cadaver infected with SCP-008 with SCP-217. Number 109. Doctors Bright and Clef are no longer allowed to engage in research, any activity involving 40 gallons more than a pound, any amount of super balls. Addendum 1. Also the aforementioned are not to convince, blackmail, compel D-Class personnel, anybody, into conducting such activities for them. Number 110. Challenge accepted is not a valid excuse for anything. Number 111. Dr. Bright is not allowed to lease out SCP-002, even, especially if he includes the option to buy. Number 112. Dr. Bright is not allowed to dress up as Joseph Stalin and ambush Agent Strelnikov in the hallways. Addendum 1. Actually, Dr. Bright shouldn't be allowed to dress up as any communist dictator. There's no way it could end well. Number 113. Dr. Bright is not to be allowed access to the cafeteria menu more than a day in advance, 6 hours in advance at all. Nor is he to get anyone else to access it for him, directly or indirectly. Number 114. Dr. Bright is not allowed to introduce small children to the giving tree. Number 115. Dr. Bright is not allowed to borrow SCP-159 for his office. Number 116. Dr. Bright is not allowed near any carbonated beverages while in possession of Mentos branded mints. The last time that happened, he somehow managed to cause an earthquake in the east coast of the United States. Dr. Bright is not allowed to claim responsibility for earthquakes and other natural disasters unless he is actually responsible for them. Number 117. Dr. Bright is not allowed to dare new personnel, anyone, to play peekaboo with either SCP-569 or SCP-173. Number 118. When ordering things online, send them to PO Box redacted and not directly to Site 19. We've already had 3 postmen show up at the front door. How do they even find us? Dr. Bright is not to give directions to Site 19 to non-Foundation personnel. Number 119. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to give navigational directions to Site 19 anywhere, even especially to Foundation personnel. Number 120. The SCP Foundation does not have any position as Chief Defenstrator. Addendum 1. Wrong. Extra Addendum 1. Agent Clef is not allowed to create new positions. Number 121. Any proposed containment procedure that includes the phrase giant robot is to be automatically rejected. Number 122. Excessive force is not the same as the Force, therefore using it does not make Dr. Bright a Jedi. Number 123. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use SCP-914 to craft items from Team Fortress 2. Addendum 1. Yes, a medigun would be a useful tool for the Foundation medical staff. No, we are not going to waste any more SCP-500 attempting to make one, especially not after SCP-427. Addendum 2. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use SCP-914 to craft items from Minecraft either. Also, your diamond pickaxe has been confiscated. Number 124. Dr. Bright is not allowed to tell future hosts that you're about to become very bright. Addendum 1. And he can't tell anyone that possession is 9/10 of the law. Addendum 2. Dr. Bright is not allowed to refer to D-Class personnel as extra lives. Number 125. Dr. Bright is not allowed to send SCP-1004 over an email message. Number 126. No matter the electricity savings, no product of SCP-158 is to be used for illumination. Number 127. SCP-001 is not Dr. Bright's penis. Addendum 1. The hammer is not his penis. Addendum 2. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use his genitals for construction purposes. Number 128. Dr. Bright possesses the ability of consciousness transfer and the artifact SCP-963. He does not possess any of the following. 1. Laser eyes. 2. Laser nostrils. 3. Laser redacted. 4. A green-red any lantern ring. 5. An adamantium skeleton. 6. Andural. 7. Mjolnir. 8. A map leading to all the Nazi gold. 9. The ancient medallion. 10. A copy of the Necronomicon. Addendum 1. A King James version of the Necronomicon. 11. Cybernetic implants of any kind. 12. The Dragon's Sword. I don't care how you did it, put it back. 13. The seventh element of harmony. 14. Infallible Gaydar. 15. Infallible Judar. 16. The touch. 17. The power. 18. The secret. 19. Telepathy. 20. Telekinesis. 21. The original filming model of any fictional spacecraft. 22. Lead hacks or skills. 23. The sixth sense. 24. The ability to distinguish between butter and I can't believe it's not butter. Number 129. If Dr. Bright's current form is sighted near an armory without express permission, initiate evacuation procedure redacted. Number 130. Dr. Bright is not allowed to test SCP-826 with his self-authored comic book entitled Dr. Bright and the 79 Virgins Playboy Magazine's anything. Number 131. Dr. Bright is a genius. Second best only to me. He nine best Buzzlaw. Addendum 1. Dr. Bright is not allowed to give SCP-732 access to this document. Addendum 1. Dr. Bright is not allowed to give any SCP access to this document without O5 approval. Number 132. Dr. Bright is not allowed to tell new D-Class personnel that SCP-439 has escaped into the barracks. Number 133. Dr. Bright is not allowed to convince other personnel that they are actually Dr. Bright. Number 134. Dr. Bright is not allowed to challenge SCP-082 to a drinking contest, even if he's positive he can win. Number 135. We have never had a Jamaican vacation giveaway. Dr. Bright is not in charge of it, and SCP-343 is not the official Foundation travel voucher. Number 136. Dr. Bright is not allowed access to SCP-243 except under strict supervision. I think we all remember the Great Marital Aid Migration of 2011. Number 137. Dr. Bright is not allowed to challenge Dr. Gerard to a race involving any sort of vehicle. Dr. Bright is not allowed to challenge Dr. Gerard to a race involving anything. Number 138. Dr. Bright is not allowed to access the IT Department hotline access, the IT Department database, access any networking equipment belonging to the IT Department. Number 139. Dr. Bright is not to bring samples of SCP-1361 to Foundation potlucks, barbecues, or charity food drives. Number 140. SCP-963 is not a soul gem, and making a contract with Dr. Bright will not turn you into a magical girl. Addendum 1, not even if he includes a magical girl outfit. Number 141. SCP-963 is not the soul gem. Bright does not have access to the Infinity Gauntlet. Please stop glaring at people who annoy you and snapping. Number 142. SCP-137 is never to be used on sex toys. Addendum 1. Under no circumstances is Dr. Bright allowed to expose SCP-137 to Warhammer 40k minifigures. Again, not even in an attempt to terminate SCP-682. Addendum 2, or anything made by Wondertainment. Number 143. Not allowed to have Abel get into arguments with forum trolls. Number 144. Dr. Bright is not allowed to go trick-or-treating ever. Number 145. Abel is not Kratos. Number 146. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to produce, create, or remind staff of SCP Robot Wars. Number 147. Copies of SCP-1981 are not to be submitted to America's Funniest Home Videos. Addendum 1, or posted on YouTube. Addendum 2, or on YouPorn. Addendum 3, or to Tosh.0. Number 148. Dr. Bright is not allowed to just say no to O5 orders on the grounds that they are instances of SCP-2500J. Number 149. Dr. Bright is not allowed to refer to O5, MT commanders, the janitor, any Foundation personnel as the Cool Kids. Number 150. Dr. Bright is not the final boss of anything. Number 151. Dr. Bright has not won the internet, and is not authorized to declare that any other individual has done so. Addendum 1. Nor is he allowed to claim or distribute instances of SCP-335 under said premise. Number 152. Dr. Bright is not allowed to show junior staff as his cutie mark. Addendum 1. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use SCP-137 on any Hasbro product. Number 153. Dr. Bright is not allowed to take SCP-1187 for a morning ride. Number 154. Dr. Bright is not allowed to submit any incident reports to the Darwin Awards, not even if you are sure it would win. Number 155. Dr. Bright is not allowed to teach SCP-1370 to play multiplayer video games. It was not an improvement giving it the vocabulary of the average preteen redacted player, or introducing it to the concept of teabagging. Number 156. The iPods do not need hats, bow ties, or any other form of clothing. Number 157. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use expunged data in SCP reports as Mad Libs. Number 158. Robo-Dude is not a piece of the broken god. Number 159. Dr. Bright is not allowed to create an anatomically correct body pillow modelled after SCP-173, SCP-105, SCP-999-J, SCP-07602, or Dr. Crow. Number 160. The following are not appropriate sources for D-Class personnel. 1. Temp agencies, 2. Craigslist, 3. Reality show talent pools, 4. Jerry Springer tapings, 5. Orphans, 6. Urchins, 7. Ragamuffins, 8. Those sons of bitches who scratch at my paint job at the car wash, 9. Ex-girlfriends, 10. Ex-boyfriends, 11. Ex-partners of any gender variation whatsoever, 12. Staff members' in-laws, 13. YouTube comment threads, 14. Forum trolls, 15. Angsty teens, 16. Bad applications to the SCP Foundation. 2 exceptions have been made, but the rest are off limits. 17. Occupy Wall Street, 18. The Tea Party, 19. The Green Party, 20. The Green Party, 21. The Gathering of the Juggalos. Addendum 1. How the fuck do they work? Number 161. The following items are not SCPs. 1. Rainbows, 2. Double rainbows, 3. Rain booms, whether sonic or otherwise, 4. The tides, 5. The moon, 6. Fucking magnets, 7. Rocks that skip 3 times before they go underwater, 8. Soy cheese, 9. Hippies, 10. Hipsters, 11. MILFs, 12. G-MILFs, 13. GD MILFs, 14. Anything funny SCR skits. As these do not exist, they cannot be SCPs. 15. Anyone's breasts, 16. People who can solve Rubik's Cubes of any size, 17. Shiny any Pokemon. Number 162. Nobody ever refers to Dr. Bright as Tim, and he is no longer allowed to introduce new personnel to SCP-524. Number 163. The platypus is not an SCP. No, really. No, not even an X. Number 164. Dr. Bright is not allowed to test internet creepypasta rights using D-Class personnel. Number 165. SCP-963 is not a Millennium item. Number 166. Dr. Bright should refrain from trying to convince SCP-237 to become a brony. Addendum 1. Not even to improve his disposition. Addendum 2. For that matter, trying to make SCP-042 a brony will just make things worse. Number 167. Putting an equine, no matter how small, through SCP-914 on Very Fine again is strictly forbidden. Addendum 1. No. You cannot keep it. Number 168. The answer to a containment breach is never to recruit a team of teenagers with attitude. Addendum 1. Or to send 5 rings to 5 special young people. Addendum 2. Or ask junior staffers if they are bad enough dudes to contain the breach. Number 169. Dr. Bright is not allowed to claim he has been trained to conquer galaxies. Number 170. Dr. Bright may not attempt to neutralize SCP-682 using the power of friendship, the power of love, or any other sort of power which has not been proven to actually exist. Number 171. Dr. Bright does not remind anyone of the babe with the power of voodoo, and is not allowed to tell anyone else that they remind him of the same. Number 172. The Chaos Insurgency has no interest in summoning daemons to the material universe to serve the ruinous powers of chaos, and therefore Dr. Bright is not permitted to inform new researchers otherwise. Number 173. Dr. Bright is not allowed to write an SCP-582 account in order to deal with junior staff members who get on his nerves. Number 174. Dr. Bright is not allowed to stick refrigerator magnets to Foundation personnel, SCP-914, SCP-882, SCP-217, victims, Piece of the Broken God, any magnetic objects within Foundation control. Number 175. SCP-1916 only works if administered orally. We know this. There is no reason to test further, Dr. Bright. Number 176. Why not is not considered authorization for SCP cross-testing. Number 177. The Foundation has no mobile task force dedicated to the capture, entertainment, or forum trolls. Addendum 1. Dr. Bright is not allowed to found a new mobile task force dedicated to the capture and containment of forum trolls. Number 178. The Serpent's Hand is not a synonym for masturbation. Number 179. Yo Mama is not so ugly SCP-096 didn't look at her. Number 180. SCP-173 is not a babysitter. Having SCP-173 play Where's the Baby is downright cruel. Not, as Dr. Bright claims it, expletive hilarious. Number 181. Dr. Bright is no longer invited to the annual Foundation holiday party. Addendum 1. Dr. Bright is not allowed to host his own Foundation holiday party. Addendum 2. The Foundation holiday party is cancelled indefinitely. Number 182. SCP-682 does not have a Wondertainment logo stamped on his upper palate. Addendum 1. Or on his posterior. Number 183. Playing the song Thriller in the presence of SCP-008 victims is expressly forbidden. Addendum 1. Letting out SCP-008 victims and punching them to simulate Minecraft is also forbidden. Addendum 2. Pushing several agents in front of SCP-008 victims to simulate Resident Evil is not a valid excuse either. Addendum 3. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed near victims of SCP-008. Number 184. SCP-682 will not be sated by the ritual sacrifice of a virgin. Number 185. Filming, directing, or performing in celebrity sex tapes are not appropriate work assignments for Mr. Deeds. Number 186. Anything involving the words elephant sauce. Site-19 is still recovering from the last incident. Number 187. I like a little junk in the trunk is not authorization to feed SCP-15751 to an elephant. Number 188. Dr. Bright is under no circumstances to attempt possession of SCP-682. Number 189. I touched SCP-1453 a little while ago is not a valid excuse for any containment breach. Number 190. No shirt, no shoes, no service does not imply that pants and undergarments are not required parts of the dress code. Addendum 1. Doubly so since no shirt, no shoes, no service is not a part of any official Foundation dress code. Number 191. Dr. Bright is not to use this list as a resume. Number 192. Dr. Bright shall not, may not begin his sentences with "thou shalt not," even especially in the presence of SCP-343. Number 193. Use of double, quadruple, triple, any number of negatives to obtain security clearances will result in the repetition of kindergarten swift punishment. Number 194. Dr. Bright is not allowed to recreate any experiments seen on the television program Mythbusters using any SCP. Addendum 1. Especially not if he can do it better. Number 195. Regardless of whether or not it exists, Dr. Bright certainly does not enjoy diplomatic immunity as a local consul of the Islamic Republic of Eastern Samothrace. Number 196. Dr. Bright is not allowed to put SCP-278 into SCP-194 on course, so I can learn to make more of them. Number 197. Dr. Bright is not allowed to transfer, copy, upgrade, relocate SCP-079 onto any form of high-capacity data storage device. Number 198. SCP-1156 is not Dr. Bright's royal steed. Number 199. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use SCP-1543-J to launch SCP-727-J into itself. Again. Number 200. Even if Dr. Bright is wearing an eye patch, he is not allowed to keyhole anyone. Addendum 1. Not even on Talk Like a Pirate Day. Addendum 2. Talk Like a Pirate Day is not allowed to be celebrated as site redacted. Any personnel violating this rule will walk the plank, be severely disciplined. Addendum 3. There is no such thing as Talk Like a Ninja Day, and Dr. Bright is not allowed to create it. Number 201. Introducing SCP-682 to SCP-002 just to see what will happen is not recommended. Don't even think about it. Addendum 1. I said stop thinking about it. Number 202. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to interview new personnel. Addendum 1. Even especially not if they ask for him. Number 203. Dr. Bright is not Kenny. We also ask new researchers, and Bright, to stop referring to himself as such. Number 204. Dr. Bright is not allowed to play SCP Roulette with SCP-173, a light switch and any combination of D-Class and new personnel. Number 205. Dr. Bright is not to ask SCP-738, what would you want in exchange for not making this deal with me? Number 206. Dr. Bright works for the SCP Foundation, not the Terminus Foundation. He does not possess a degree in psychohistory. Addendum 1. And no group of interest is the second Foundation. Number 207. The fact that SCP-682 regenerates all lost tissue does not make it an infinite hamburgers machine. Addendum 1. Most especially because they tasted horrible. Number 208. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use SCP-127 to place projectiles under his pillow for the Tooth Fairy to give him money. Number 209. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use SCP-252-ARC on Fred Phelps, any member of the Phelps family, any person or organisation affiliated with Westboro Baptist Church. Addendum 1. Dr. Bright is not allowed to Sick the Horizon initiative on the above religious organisation. Addendum 2. Dr. Bright may not request a pool of D-Class recruited solely from members of the above religious organisation. Number 210. The Manor Charitable Foundation does not host an annual Labour Day telethon, and Dr. Bright is not allowed to offer the services of Foundation employees as performers, or phone bank operators for such. Number 211. Dr. Bright is not allowed access to Popular Science magazine. That How 2.0 section is way too dangerous for Bright to see now that they've shown how to create cyborg cockroaches. Number 212. Dr. Bright is not allowed to go on crusade. Addendum 1. Or on jihad. Addendum 2. Dr. Bright is not permitted to issue fatwas against anyone or anything. Number 213. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to declare, "After 10,000 years I'm free! It's time to conquer Earth!" upon assuming a new host. Number 214. All Foundation personnel are now required to attend a seminar on the difference between an original idea and a good idea before being allowed new or continuing contact with Dr. Bright, Dr. Clef, or Dr. Kondraki. Number 215. Dr. Bright does not have 10 tons of gold hidden somewhere at Site 19. Number 216. SCP-963 is not to be given away as a good luck charm. Number 217. Dr. Bright is not a wizard, no matter what he might tell you. Addendum 1. He is not an alchemist either, and is not to be consulted regarding alchemical issues. Addendum 2. Or a witch. Addendum 3. Dr. Bright is not magic and cannot perform magic, and must give sufficient explanation for any actions he undertakes. Number 218. Dr. Bright is not, nor has he ever been, the undisputed SCP Intercontinental Champion. Number 219. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to run through Site 19, any site, while screaming, "The Keter is loose!" unless it's an actual emergency. Addendum 1. Claiming it's for research on the effects of social engineering is not an emergency. Addendum 2. Nor is using it to clear out the areas Dr. Bright is otherwise restricted from entering, due to reasons given on this list. Addendum 3. Dr. Bright may not start referring to any persons or SCPs as the Keter in order to circumvent these rules, unless they are actually classified as Keter. Number 220. Dr. Bright is not allowed to perform any tests or experiments utilizing the reproductive organs of any dead or living being, including himself. Number 221. Dr. Bright may not tell D-Class personnel, newly recruited staff, anyone, that SCP-920 will show them to their quarters. Again, we are still looking for 12 D-Class personnel who have disappeared in the Pyrenees. Number 222. Dr. Bright may never attempt to ingest SCP-184 to win a pie-eating contest, nor any other kind of eating or drinking contest. Number 223. After what happened last month, Dr. Bright is not allowed to watch Firefly ever again. I think most of the people involved, that are still alive, are still in the psychiatric ward. Addendum 1. Dr. Bright is not a browncoat and we can stop the signal. Addendum 2. Dr. Bright is a leaf on the wind. Watch him so. Still too soon? Okay. Number 224. Dr. Bright is not allowed to come within 5 meters of any explosive device or detonation device. Remember what happened at Area Redacted. Addendum 1. Not even if Dr. Iceberg asks nicely. Addendum 2. Trying to blow up 682 is not a valid excuse. 225. Attempting to make shadow puppets with SCP-017 is forbidden. Addendum 1. Trying to entertain SCP-053 is not a valid excuse. Number 226. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to stand in the corner and twiddle his thumbs. Number 227. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to use the words swag, swagit, swaginator, swagify, or super swag to define himself or any other persons. Number 228. YOLO is not an excuse for anything, most especially because it does not apply to him. Addendum 1. Neither is why not. Number 229. Dr. Bright is not allowed to order D-Class personnel, convince new personnel, any personnel, ask anybody ever to play a game of patty cake with SCP-049. Number 230. Dr. Bright is not allowed to ask Mr. D's to do any of the things on this list. Number 231. Dr. Bright is not allowed to bring chocolate into a restroom. Dr. Bright is not allowed to bring food into a restroom. Number 232. Dr. Bright is not allowed to speak in a voice resembling a movie character. Addendum 1. Dr. Bright is not allowed to reenact any movie, even G-rated ones. Number 233. Dr. Bright is not allowed to learn cheerleader routines, dress like a cheerleader, do anything related to the sport of cheerleading. Number 234. SCP-957 is not a prerequisite to becoming possessed by Dr. Bright. Number 235. Dr. Bright is not allowed access to SCP-1197 for the purpose of corroborating with himself. Addendum 1. Dr. Bright is not allowed access to SCP-1197 for the purpose of propositioning himself. Number 236. As of 9th of the 26th, 20 redacted, Dr. Bright is not allowed access to any hotel for any reason. Site redacted budget does not allow for extra cleanup fees, especially not as a result of Dr. Bright's actions. Number 237. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to say, "Everything the Bright touches is our kingdom." Number 238. Dr. Bright may not attempt to digitally enhance any of the original Star Wars movies. Number 239. Dr. Bright is not allowed to advertise himself on online dating services. Number 240. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use this list as a to-do list. Number 241. Dr. Bright is not L. Ron Hubbard incarnate, and is not allowed to tell personnel otherwise. Number 242. Dr. Bright is not Sherlock Holmes, and is not allowed to say what he thinks a person's appearance means about them to any reality-bending SCP. Addendum 1. Dr. Bright is not allowed to cause a containment breach of any kind just so he can have a case. Addendum 2. Neither is he allowed to convince anyone to be Watson. Number 243. Dr. Bright may not urge bereaved staff members to look at the bright side. Addendum 1. Nor is he allowed to refer to his name-related puns as his bright ideas. Addendum 2. Dr. Bright is not allowed to refer to any SCPs, Foundation resources, or personnel as his fancy dancing pants. Number 244. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use SCP-1994-J with Dr. Kane. Hours of actual productive research are, as of yet, to be recovered. Number 245. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to play chicken with members of any department. Number 246. Dr. Bright is not allowed to order the works from the cafeteria. Amendment 1. Dr. Bright is also not allowed to put anything on his tab. Number 247. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to commit seppuku. Addendum 1. Even if he has an audience. Addendum 2. Especially a captive one. Number 248. Dr. Bright is not in possession of any of the following: a Brightmobile, Brightarangs, a Bright Claw, a Bright Suit, or a Baseball Bright. Addendum 1. Dr. Bright is not allowed to yell, "To the Bright Cave!" Number 249. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to sing Silent Night following the All Is Bright incident. Number 250. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to commission, produce, advertise, or display animated videos to containment spot anyone with the subject "What happens when you fuck up containing SCP? Insert SCP here." Addendum 1. No, it is not educational, Bright. Not the way you show it. Number 251. Dr. Bright is not allowed funding to replicate the experiments of Dr. Krieger from Archer. Number 252. Dr. Bright is not allowed to try to convince personnel to replicate his famous high dive into SCP-120. Addendum 1. He is not allowed to talk about his famous high dive into SCP-120. Number 253. Dr. Bright is not to be referred to as Rainbow Bright. Number 254. Dr. Bright is not allowed access to infants for the purpose of becoming the baby New Year. Number 255. Dr. Bright is not allowed to create a "The Things Dr. Bright is allowed to do at the Foundation" list by listing everything that isn't on this list. Just because it isn't on this list doesn't mean you should do it. Addendum 1. He may, however, request for one to be created. Addendum 2. He may not, however, suggest what should be on said list. Number 256. Dr. Bright is not to attempt to neutralize SCP-1013 just because he can do Fluttershy Stare. Number 257. Dr. Bright must not create an infinite logical loop to less feeble-minded individuals. Number 258. There is no such department known as the Bright Ideas Department. Furthermore, if such a department did exist, Dr. Bright would not be in the employ of this department. Number 259. Dr. Bright is not allowed to throw himself through a window to prove that the glass is unbreakable for any reason whatsoever. Number 260. Dr. Bright is not allowed to convince D-Class anybody to cough in front of SCP-049. Number 261. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use any green dyes for the purpose of being creative. Number 262. Because reasons will no longer be accepted as a viable excuse for removing any SCP from containment. Number 263. Dr. Bright may not refer to anyone as a peasant. Number 264. Dr. Bright is not allowed to attempt to convince D-Class new personnel anyone that shouting "Bing Bong Bring It On" while ringing SCP-513 will negate its effect. Number 265. Dr. Bright is not allowed to arrange gladiatorial arena combat between D-Class, even especially if any SCPs are used as weapons. Number 266. SCP-173 does not just want a hug, and Dr. Bright may not attempt to convince anyone otherwise. Number 267. Because there's an alternate universe me who wouldn't do it is no longer a valid reason for violating containment procedures. Number 268. Dr. Bright is not allowed to attack instances of SCP-217, claiming that the Borg have attacked. Number 269. Dr. Bright is not allowed access to visual audio recordings of the dance crazed up the Harlem Shake, anything deemed viral. Number 270. Dr. Bright is not allowed to start any drag races between D-Classes in cars and SCP-096. Number 271. Dr. Bright is not allowed to yell out "Immigration!" near any foreign personnel. Number 272. Dr. Bright is not allowed to reenact any scene from Pulp Fiction. Number 273. Dr. Bright is not allowed to convince new personnel anyone to have a friendly staring contest with SCP-096. Number 274. Dr. Bright is not allowed to open SCP-1025 on random pages in front of anyone. Number 275. Dr. Bright is not allowed to dare anyone to finish SCP-1997. Number 276. Dr. Bright is not allowed to send a slinky down SCP-087. Number 277. Dr. Bright is not an instance of SCP-1000 and is not allowed to claim otherwise. Addendum 1. Especially not when using the body of a primate. Number 278. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use SCP-884 for shaving purposes. Addendum 1. Nor for other personal care purpose. Addendum 2. Nor for any non-approved purpose whatsoever. Addendum 3. Especially not for the purpose of making people doubt that he's not allowed to use it. Number 279. Dr. Bright is not allowed to claim that researcher Xin Kiryu is the new Master of Butterflies due to her extensive work on butterfly-related SCP items. Addendum 1. King of the Butterflies is not an inheritable title. No, not even if Kodraki really is dead, which, if true, Dr. Bright isn't clear to know. Addendum 2. Researcher Xin Kiryu is also not to be referred to by Dr. Bright as Queen of the Butterflies, Mistress of the Butterflies, Supreme Princess of the Butterflies, Great Shepherd of the Butterflies, Second Cousin of the Butterflies, or Major Associate of the Butterflies, or any other grandiose title referring to butterflies. Number 280. Dr. Bright is not allowed to tell new Foundation recruits fictional horror stories involving his family. Number 281. Dr. Bright is not allowed to tell new Foundation recruits factual horror stories involving his family. Number 282. He is definitely not allowed to edit this list just to mess with people on Tumblr. Number 283. We do not talk about Bottledeck. Addendum 1. Especially not over the site intercom, loudspeaker, megaphone, group chat, email, or any other device intended to speak to large numbers of people at the same time. Number 284. We really mean it about editing the list to mess with people on Tumblr. Number 285. Dr. Bright is not allowed to transfer his consciousness into a YouTuber in order to make serious videos about himself or his family. Addendum 1 especially if it's all true. Number 286. Dr. Bright is not Hades, nor any other Greek god. Addendum 1. I don't care if it's Hercules version or Lord Olympus, wash off the blue body paint now. Addendum 2. And please stop trying to set your hair on fire. Number 287. There are no plans to shut down any site to prevent COVID-19 infection. Addendum 1. That being said, if certain staffers do not start washing their goddamn hands after using the bathroom, Dr. Bright has full permission to be himself at them. I'm looking at you, Magnus.